I don't want to waste any time. We're going to get started with introductions. I'm going to let Jocelyn start. Introduce yourself, please.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm a writer and an artist, and I'm a soul art guide and a yoga nidra guide here on Insight Timer, and Akashic Records guide and human design. I just add it all in. But
Love it.
one of the things that is a thread for me is writing, and oftentimes I call myself a cultivator of curiosity and creativity in the human experiment. And writing is just such a tangible way to get curious and to get creative. I mean, it brings the creativity right in. And one of the things I talk about a lot is, and anytime you see me in like a creative writing or any kind of automatic writing live event I run, it's like the personal writing and the creative writing. You can't take them apart. You can't separate them.
Jocelyn, sorry to interrupt you. No one can hear
Yeah.
you.
Oh, no one can
Oh,
hear me.
you know what? Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I have all my settings correct here. Oh, it was my fault. Wait, it's my fault.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you for letting us know. All right, go ahead and talk. I'm sorry, Jocelyn.
Oh,
Go ahead and talk, and everyone, let me know if you can hear her. Can you hear her
yeah.
now?
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I had selected, I forgot to select that virtual audio cable. With
Yeah.
OBS, there are 6 million settings, and I need a checklist because sometimes I'm busy doing things and I forget to turn one thing on and that's it. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So I'm Jocelyn, and I'm an artist and a writer, and a soul art guide, and a human design guide, and a yoga nidra guide here on Insight Timer. And I do a lot of creative writing lives because writing is for me one of those major threads. And so yeah, if you ever see me in a live event, I'm often talking about the body as an instrument. Our body is the way that we take everything in. It's the way we express everything out. And I just love helping people dive into prompts and see all the facets of every little thing in that prompt. And it turns out that any prompt can have, just limitless possibility if you learn how to look at it. So, yeah.
Yes, yes. And like I said, I was watching your live the other day and I love the prompts that you come up with. I mean, I love to journal and your prompts just make me think so much. And that one that you threw out there, I was like, that's wonderful. I love it. Fatima, my friend, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Fátima from Portugal. I'm a sound healer, a music producer, a composer, and a musician for more than 20 years already. And I love to connect music with words and with emotions. And I love to bring meditations that can have a different soundscape and that can trigger different emotions. So anything regarding frequencies and soul alignment. I'm also mentoring on connecting with your soul through tuning forks. So yeah, thank you so much, Violet, for inviting us and for this
You for
moment.
being here. Both you and Jocelyn, and I want to mention before I move on to Melanie that they both have some amazing tracks, and Fatima has a music that I've been falling asleep to lately because I love to listen to music at night, and I put a lot of them in my journaling playlist. So make sure that you check them out and you follow them. I keep putting their names in the chat, and we're gonna move to Melanie, which I know you all know.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here because I do think this is a side that you don't get to see of me very often since mostly do mindful cooking and intuitive baking. But like Jocelyn, I'm a writer and I have a couple of cookbooks. And I'm excited to show everybody because believe it or not, someone on Insight Timer today wrote to me and said, "What do you journal in?" And I wanted to show everybody I journal in an art book
I
because
love
I
that.
I do, I don't, you can probably see some of the writings. Those are actually all my prompts that I go back to a lot, but then I
Okay, so
use
now
it,
I've known you for like a year and I didn't even know. I've never seen that book.
I
I
know.
love it.
And so like this actually is my first one I did with Grace Luce with the neurographic art. And there's a lot of writing interspersed in here and watercolor. This was one I recently did because I think
Nice.
journaling can take many forms, including art. And I think almost everybody on here knows that I was diagnosed with cancer. And one of my prompts I gave myself was I was going to draw my tumor, which is in the center.
I love
And
that.
then I was going to draw around it. So even though it's a lot, I'm showing you the drawing, there's a lot of writing in here. And for me, I love having this big book because I use it for not just writing, but any type of sort of written expression that I need. And sometimes that comes out in the form of recipes, believe it or not.
Wow, so
I know,
cool.
I realized you didn't know that about me, Violet.
Yeah. See that? You learn something new all the time, right? Joanne says, Violet has brought me back. Oh, I love that, Joanne. I love hearing. I've heard from so many people lately saying that they've gotten back into journaling, and that makes me so happy because journaling has been so huge in my life. I started journaling when I was like 9 years old. My sister gave me this little book, like a diary, and I started writing in it. And I remember when we were moving from one house to another, I like ripped out all the pages and I threw it away because I didn't want anybody to read anything I had written. But as years went on, I kept getting diaries and writing. And of course, when the computer age started, I started doing it on my computer because then I could password protect it and no one could read anything that I had written. So I've been journaling, I feel like forever, and I love it. And I tell people with my first marriage, that was my therapy because I used to write a lot and it really helped me a lot just to process everything that I was going through and to eventually decide to leave my husband. So journaling has been wonderful for me. Melanie, yeah, I agree. A diary is a gateway to journaling. So
We
yeah,
were
we
all
started,
journaling when we were 8 and we just didn't know it.
right? Right? Absolutely. I know. I remember having that little diary with a little key, that didn't really lock it. Put that little key and
That little like
did a,
tinfoil key
right,
that was
right,
like this
right.
big.
Yes, yes, yes. Thinking that that kept it safe, like nobody's going to get in here now.
Except our parents.
Right. I don't think my parents ever paid attention. They never like I would have, I admit it all the time. If I if I see anything like that laying around, I will read it. So, my husband doesn't journal, but he knows I'm nosy. So whereas he's the opposite of me. He's so respectful. Like I'm sure if I left my journal wide open sitting in front of him, he would not read it. Or I'd be like, "Oh, what is this?"
My
Joanne
husband's the
says
same.
she's yeah, he wouldn't read it either. Isn't that amazing?
No.
I am so nosy. I really am nosy. My kids knew better than to leave anything laying around in their rooms. I used to walk in there, pretending I was cleaning and be like, "Hmm." So they used to try and hide stuff, but I was like, you can't hide anything from me. I'll find it. All right. So yeah, we've been doing these weekly journaling. I just started them like this is what our second one now. I've lost count. Yeah, I've lost count of two. It's our second one, but we're gonna do one a week for a year because Tom Evans had recommended. He had originally suggested to me, "Oh, you should do 365 days," and I was like, I don't think I could do that because I mean, I shouldn't say I couldn't because I do journal every day, but to come up with 365 tracks, I get overwhelmed easily. So I was like, let's do 52 weeks. I like that idea. So that is why we're here. And people ask me all the time, how do I journal? How do I get started? What do I do? And I am not one to follow these like rigid rules. And, like Melanie said, there's so many different ways to journal. You can do art, you can, there's music, there's audio, there's so many things. So that's what I want us to talk about every week when we do these things. And not to put you on the spot, Jocelyn, but you do so much stuff with journaling. So I wanted to start with you. Like I wanted you to talk about, you know, the different types of journaling that you tell people about and I'd love to know how you come up with your prompts too, because you come up with some awesome prompts.
Oh, I've been teaching creative writing and journaling for like decades. So I have like whole things of but it's now, it really depends on why you're using journaling and why you're showing up on the page. There's people who do morning pages, and that's just to clear their channel. It's just to get like started fresh in the day. There's people who keep like diary style things because it becomes a way to like log things for themselves and see it outside of themselves. There's people who journal for inspiration or creativity. There's people who are, when I'm in the middle of beginning to write another book, and like it's about it's really about just keeping the juice flowing for me and going and getting and really, really finding what I want to say.
I'm
But I
glad you
agree.
mentioned morning pages because that's something that I got into about 5 years ago and I love them. Could you tell people about morning
Yeah, so if
pages?
anyone has followed The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron, she talks about the morning pages. And it's just one of her practices that once you start doing the 12-week program, morning pages are something when you get up, you do like 3 pages or 20 minutes of just free form stream of consciousness writing. And you do it before you do anything, which honestly, to be totally honest, I usually had coffee first. Like that's just me. But like and you write to get everything out the minute you wake up. And it's just a way to clear your channel because everything that kind of gets gunked up in, in just our minds and our hearts through sleep and everything that's coming up in the day, all of it just gets dumped out. And so that's like morning pages. And I agree with Melanie too, because I am a soul artist. So I also will sometimes visually journal or collage journal or word journal or, just sketch. I feel like it's really just a flow of who you are and what you're feeling in that day. And I do everything from, the morning journaling to sometimes I journal at night just to clear my head before sleep. Because as you move into sleep, to have a nice clear head, that allows you that whole dream time to actually heal, to find the doorways that you need to find in that way. But there's also just journaling for fun, for creative writing, for like how just to get curious, right? Just to get curious with what the heck's going on, what you're thinking, where it's going. And I've used everything from like Day One Journal, which is like an app where you can use, I really like photos, where you can throw photos into the app. But then I found that I like to hold my thoughts and my things in my hands. So I am a total, like, I use these journals, right? These ones that are like, and I have so many of them. I order probably 24 of these a month at least, and I'll go through them all. And so I love to just write. And I think most of the time when I talk to people about journaling or about writing in general, I always start with I always start with your body's your instrument, no matter what art you're in. Fatima, I'm sure you would agree. Your body's your instrument in music, right? In anything you're working with, it comes through your body. And in writing in particular, I like to like talk about the senses. And I always talk about, you have all your what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel, what you hear. But then you also have the umbrella senses of your memory. You can go through all 5 of those senses in your memory. You can also go your imagination, all 5 of those senses in your imagination. So you have these 2 umbrella senses. And if you look at your body as a way of taking in everything, we have this like little storage closet within us. You remember the smell of breakfast when everyone has something different, but the smell of breakfast when you were 10 on a snow day, or the smell of hot chocolate, or the taste of hot chocolate, or that first, snowball from a snowstorm. Just talking about because of the day. But we have all these pieces, and they're all in there, and they're all there for us to tap into. So when you start journaling, you're actually taking all of those, your body as the instrument, but you're starting to use it to express. And so if you start looking at any prompt, and I always tell people to start with I remember because that's a writer's prompt. Any writer will use that any day it'll be different. It's always an amazing prompt to start with is I remember because it gets you into your body, your memory, your imagination, your senses, and it gets you present. And from there, you can go into creative writing. You can go into all kinds of other things that you want to go into, but you've kind of oiled the instrument for yourself, right? Something along that line. And then just for me, I can look at any word, prompt, line, and I tend to open it up and unwrap it very in all directions. Um, yeah, yeah. So did I answer your
Melanie, I
question?
like yeah, oh, you absolutely did, and I love that, and the I remember, I never think to use that, and I love that. I'm gonna start using that. That's a great one. Because there are times I tend to write more in the present or in the future, and it's funny, I think when I was with my first husband, my unhappy marriage, I used to write a lot in the past, and it's interesting how that changed for me. And I started going into the present and into the future. So I think I'm gonna start using I remember. I like that.
It's so interesting because I'm really in this place. Like, actually, I'm working on a shaman initiation of bending time. And I'm in this place of looking at time as not being linear, looking at it as all happening at the same time. So actually, if you play with the prompt, I remember, and you start to build something up, you're then in the present, even though it's an I remember. Does that make sense? So as I'm in this
Yes.
weird, strange place with bending time.
Yeah, I love that. Tom Evans does a lot of that too. So I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
Melanie, I liked what you put in the chat there. I wanted to scroll back and see them. Could you talk about those? Your prompts that you keep in
Uh,
your journal?
sure. So um, sometimes I use them and sometimes I don't, but I always write them in the
Copy
beginning.
them.
Yeah, some people said I think Joanne copied them. And it just helps me a little bit if I'm stuck. And I definitely, I remember. Another thing Violet probably doesn't know about me is I was a journalism pre-law major in college. So I'm a big writer. But so my prompts that I keep here are 11. Right now I'm feeling, right now I notice. I feel a sense of comfort when I am currently caring for myself by I can access feelings of calm when I am grateful for, I am hopeful about. Sometimes the thing I cannot write about is what I need right now. I really believe that. And you could pick one a day, you can do none of them, but I think my favorite is sometimes and the thing I cannot write about.
I was going to
Because
say that one. As soon as you said it, I was like, wow, I love that. The thing I cannot write about.
so the first time I ever did that, I I wrote about my dad hitting my mom. And so, if anybody's ever heard me talk about it, I used to call my dad Jekyll and Hyde because it was not something I experienced on a regular basis, but it would happen randomly here and there. And I ever, I was given that as a prompt. I wrote all about that because I felt like I couldn't actually talk about it. So I could write about it, but I felt like I couldn't. And it was so cathartic and so helpful. And at the end of the day, that's I think why we're all writing is it's a form of catharsis to help us clear whatever needs to be cleared. And for me, I definitely use it as growing and inspiration because a lot of my ideas, if I don't write them down, because I come up with 100 ideas a day, they're gone. So they're in my journal too, just like notes and jotting. And I really use it as a space for everything that's here to come out on paper. And sometimes I was going to show you these. These are in my journal. I just did these the other day. I just had these pieces and I was working on symbols in this class I'm taking, but I stuck them in my journal just because I felt like that's where they belong. That's their home.
Melanie, I would say too, because also with prompts, I worked for a long time with Sabrina Ward Harrison. I've been one of her teachers in her like writing programs, and she is amazing at these like beautiful slash creative prompts that are also very present. So like some of them are, um, I in my pockets I carry, or let's see, or on my walls I write. Right, all of these kind of ways to bring a little bit of a creative edge, so it's not right. Sometimes when I journal, I can't say it right outright. So I can't say maybe what's doing something, but if I say on my walls today I write, like it might come out differently, right? But one of the phrases she uses all the time, and I love it, and really any writers using these all the time, but is and what I mean by that is. And what I mean by that is, and if you take that phrase, and what I mean by that is, and continue using it over a few pages, you will start to see the distilling of what really needs to be expressed. So I just want to add that to your prompts. And what I mean by that is, because oftentimes it takes us going to something a few times to really crystallize it. And I think that's just a great addition to those prompts. Like you can play, and I'll also sometimes I play with I am, I see, I hear, I feel, I taste this kind of stuff. But adding to that, and what I mean by that is really allows you to go deep in it, and you can go deep in it in a really creative way. Like so that I really because I work a lot with teenagers who just they're either on the fence of like just completely throw it out in your face And then what I mean by that is very different than you would expect. And the other side is the people who won't say anything. And what I mean by that is also totally not what you would expect as they begin to like unfold down, almost like, the curtain coming, or not want to say curtain because it's the opposite, but the unfolding of it, you know?
Yeah, and knowing that all of us are going to journal in our own way.
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways for all of us to do it. And when you were talking about what I write on my wall, I put this up here so you guys could see it. That's my whiteboard because sometimes I'll write journaling on there, like as I walk by every day. And my children were allowed to have a wall in their room that they were allowed to paint, write, do whatever they wanted to do on. I know Violet said, wow, because I heard from almost every parent when they've seen it, they're like, whoa, you let your kids do that. But I said, yeah, it channels their energy into one space. Because our oldest son, who's now 28, when he was little, he wanted to write on every wall. So I said, here, write on this wall. And it served him really well because he honestly used that as like an open journal.
I grew up in New York City and we had white walls and we were never allowed to even put a picture. So that would have been so nice for me as a kid. I mean, I was suppressed. So I love that idea of doing that for your
It's
kids.
funny too. I'm sorry to cut you off. But
No, no, no,
I
no, no.
just, I have a 7-year-old who doesn't write yet. So if y'all have kids, oh my gosh, the video on a iPhone is the most amazing way for kids to journal. Like taking, like they can, like, so she has a video log that she goes to a bunch of times and she just talks to herself kind of because she's not fully right. She can't write at the speed of her talking. And I go in there and there are so many videos of her that she'll sometimes go at night. I'll say, go ahead, go take a video for the day. And she'll talk about what was going on. So it's also journaling if you're not, so some people don't write fast or they don't, or they're not, just don't like writing. It's another awesome way to journal. Just thought about that as you were saying the walls, like if you couldn't paint on your walls, if you couldn't write on your walls, or, like we have now we are in a time when we have our hands available to us, the technology to do all kinds of journaling.
Yeah, I recently started using an app where you can just talk and it will transcribe for you. And I'd never done that before. And I used it one day when I was feeling really emotional. And I was like, wow, this is great. I love this. Yeah, there's so many different ways to journal. And I'm a huge believer that everybody has to do what works for them. I always tell people I was in a live one time and there was a teacher there telling people exactly how they had to do morning pages and you have to use paper and you have to use pen. And I disagreed with her and we did not see eye to eye on that. And I was like, I feel like it's just like everything. You have to do what works for you because it's like exercise. If it's not fun, you're not going to do it. And I'm all about having fun with whatever it is that I'm doing. And of course, we know I love to journal with music, and Fatima has a lot of beautiful music. And I would like you to talk about that aspect of, sound and journaling. Share with us whatever you want to share about that topic.
I'd like to share. I was right now writing here on the chat. I just posted. There is a prompt that I use a lot, and I also have different journals, but there is one that is just for manifestation. Let's say for things that I really want to embody in myself, and I think this affirmation is from James Allen. That is in an easy and relaxed way, and in a healthy and positive manner. And sometimes I add in the perfect timing, and then I write in the present. And I remember that I was writing, I play at this 5-star hotel 2 mornings per week, and without any context, without anything. And I remember going back to that journal a few months after and checking how I wished that when then I manifested it. So I feel that one is very strong. And something that I just remember by listening to Melanie is that my father didn't wanted me to be a musician, and he kind of obligated me to have 2 courses at the same time. I believe at the high school, I don't remember what is the equivalent in English, but at some point I had to choose, and I could not choose just music. So the other course that I chose, because I always loved to write, was journalism and communication. So radio, journalism, everything related to communication. So it's interesting because at that time I was doing both courses, music and communication. And now we are here speaking about how can we connect music with words? So what I'm going to play today is something that you know, a song that is well known, and I'm going to bring different styles. I'm going to make it slower or more rhythmic. And what I invite everyone is to just feel connected with whatever is happening, because music can trigger different emotions to everyone. Rhythms can trigger different emotions. If I play something more Brazilian, bossa nova style, you might, have memories from that, or you might just not really like it at all. So I will bring your like Jocelyn was saying, channeling through what you hear and what you want to express. And it can be on your computer, on your paper, with your magazines, whatever you do, you just channel yourself from what you are receiving.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you said about music can bring out so many different feelings, for you. Around Christmas time, I love to play Spanish music that my parents listened to when I was growing up around the holidays, and it puts me there. It's like, I'm 12 years old again and I could smell my mom cooking that Spanish food, and it's such a nice warm feeling. So I love that. I do love journaling to music. So does anybody want to suggest a prompt? Because I thought we could get a prompt, or all of you suggest a prompt, put it in the chat, and then we'll let Fatima play music for like 5 minutes, and then we can do a little journaling.
I feel like it's partly the music as the prompt, right? Like it's partly allowing the music to
Yeah, and
open
actually
up.
Fatima did a great thing last time we were together, where she said to listen to the music and think of that piano as a person, and you were having a conversation with them. I loved that too. That was so awesome. So yeah, however we want to do it, I'm totally open. I see Julie put Blossom Violet's name in the chat. Yeah, Blossom Violet has some beautiful, beautiful piano music. And as you know, Julie, I use it in a lot of my tracks because it definitely puts me in that frame of just flowing and writing. And I could listen to piano music all day. I actually wanted to learn how to play the piano when I was a kid, but I am not patient enough. I wanted to be Mozart immediately. And speaking of, there she is, my Twinnie. Hello, Twinnie. Caught me caught me talking about your music and how much I listen to it and how much I love it. Jessica says, "What's your favorite part of your daily routine?" Well, Jessica, I get up in the morning. I have a tablet by my bedside, and the first thing that I do is start journaling. And I'll either journal or I'll script, which, as a lot of you know, is when you're writing in the future. Maybe, or sometimes I write about dreams. I've been having some weird dreams lately. So I just like to just open that up and write. I do confess sometimes I've got to go to the bathroom first, because first thing in the morning I got to go. So, but that is my favorite part of my morning routine. Does anybody else want to answer that question? That was a great question. What's your
I thought it
ideal
was a
morning
prompt.
routine?
Maybe it was.
Jessica, was that a question or a prompt? Julie says, "I'm doing the day 11." Yes, yes, I love that. I really enjoy doing those gratitude journaling prompts too. So yeah, Jessica, let us know if that was a question. It looked like a
It was a
question. Oh, you were
prompt.
thinking it was a prompt. Oh, okay. All right, all right. We can get started. We'll let the music flow and we'll listen.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Yes, and it's beautiful. it. That was so beautiful.
The last note was not playing. I think the humidity and the cold. My see, it's not playing.
I didn't even notice. That's so funny. I wasn't looking at your hand, so I didn't notice. Wow, very nice. I love it. It was nice getting a view of the piano too. I like that. Yeah, I could listen to piano music all day. It's so pretty. Does anybody want to share anything they wrote? Anybody in the chat or even on the screen?
I'd love to hear in terms of dynamics because there is so much going on, and I feel lately it's so, especially because we have, I don't know if anyone is into astrology here, but with so much Mars retrograde, the idea of reaction or, trying to be more careful. And suddenly there are dynamics changing in a way that maybe is not so transitional, but it's intentional. And I love to hear how everyone, when they are writing and suddenly there is a change, are you noticing the change, or is it influencing your writing? Is there a specific word that comes up when that change of, that reaction happens? So I think it's an interesting reflection.
I would say listening to a piece of music like that, for me, the only way to do it is to just allow the music to guide me, because like as I would write in, like was listening, and as I was writing in, I was just allowing my hands to go, like what was coming through, and then I would hear the change, and then from there it would move me into a different memory, a different space. And what's interesting is going back, picking up the keywords that I had and finding the threads, and kind of seeing how they play together. So I actually like playing with music. Sometimes I do this with people who are working with me. I use whale song because it's like, oh, it's such a whale song is so sad, by the way. To me, I was here to have my heart breaks open for whale speak, but allowing like like, especially when someone's playing it live, to allow that to affect you and to see where it guides you, because it's going to guide everybody in different places or different ways. So even just as I was writing, I had like a bunch of, it started like I was just, so my thoughts are not really put together, but I had written like under windowsills, the wind racing under the armor of the sky, allowing the melancholy to rise like oceans to the edge of the sea's body, and like just playing. And then it went to like parades and sitting on my dad's shoulders and knowing he would never drop me because like he's a soldier, you know? And it went from piece to piece. So I just allowed the music to like bring me to memory after memory or piece after piece that kind of came through. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to underline the things that the ideas and the things that responded to me. And then I have another 15, 20 prompts just from that. So like, and when you have a moment of live music, to just let it wash over you and see what comes of it. Let's see what comes through it. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was a great suggestion. So I'm an overthinker. So right away I was like, what kind of prompt are we going to use? And then when you said that, let the music guide you, I was like, oh, I never even thought about that. I love that.
I just started writing words. I wrote New York, Snowy Sunday. And then I just was, like Jocelyn said, following the music. And I said, where has time disappeared? Running outside 10th Avenue, 3 a.m., blizzards, laughter, snowballs. I started out in the present moment, but when at one point the music switched, it brought me to a past experience in Manhattan with my husband and I. Innocence, not caring, dreams only filled with love, excitement, joy, and happiness. And then I was just like listening to the music. And then at the end, I said, I'm so grateful for you today, yesterday, tomorrow, and all the moments in between.
Oh, that's so sweet. You should share that with him later.
I will.
I tend to always fall back into gratitude too. I'm a huge gratitude journaler.
I
So
I also thought it was
I
interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Violet.
no. I was gonna say I started drifting into gratitude. I like that you ended it that way.
Well, because I didn't in the beginning know what song Fátima was playing, but that's such a beautiful song, and I feel like it really, when I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. That's where my writing is very much headed.
Yes, I felt the same way.
Yes, and I tried to start without showing the melody. So I was
Uh-huh.
kind of hiding the melody and trying to just enjoy, just go in the flow. And then at the end, when you feel like a wonderful world, is my writing connected to that title? Am I channeling the really the deep intention of this song when it was composed? You know, so it's so interesting when we bring them together.
Yeah, Blossom identified it. I saw her in the chat there. I was like, of course, your fellow musician. She was like, wonderful world. Like, name that tune. She could name that tune.
Oh my God, that would be a fun game just to do an insight timer. I'm
We
just
should do
saying.
that. We should do that. I'm up for it. I love these fun things. I'm just reading what Misty wrote. Oh, Misty made a list of a course idea. Oh, that's nice. I like that. That really got your creative juices flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
I love that.
I just want to mention that Fatima has a live right after us, so I don't want to keep us here too long, and I definitely want to, I'm going there too.
Me too.
Oh, I just wanted to bring that up, but we've got a little time to chat. So if anybody has any questions or anything they want to talk about, please feel free.
Yeah, I'd like to ask if there is a specific song that anyone here has as, when you are going to journal, is there a specific song that you repeat that you love to hear while you are journaling?
Dance of Inner Peace. It's Blossom's track. I play it all the time.
I find
Smile.
I find that some people really like to have words, some people don't, and I like to play with frequencies. I like to play with different frequencies, kind of in the background. And then there are days when I just need silence because there's already something going on inside of me. But like, with any kind of journaling, you wanna play with your limitations. So like if I am more of like a write in silence, once a week I'll throw music on. And sometimes it's heavy metal and I hate heavy metal, but sometimes it's heavy metal. Or sometimes it's whatever's going. Just like when you're writing, sometimes you write to a really narrow prompt. And if you normally like those narrow prompts, sometimes you write to a totally open prompt because it's like it keeps you elastic in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree. I think was it you, Melanie? You said you don't like having words. I don't either. I feel like if there's words, it's too much. Like it's just too much going on in my head. I need
Yeah.
just the music. And Fatima has a track that I love too, which is my two favorite things. It's rain and the piano together, and that just puts me into such a like
Ah.
zen state. I love it. I tend to have too much going on in my head, so if I have words, I'm overwhelmed. If I have music with words.
It's so funny. It's like, whenever oftentimes I find that I have to write, and this actually has to do back a lot with human design as well. But like for me to write, I write the best in a crowded bar or coffee shop. Like when I have all kinds of conversations going on around me and other people's energy, like that's where I'm writing my books. That's where I'm writing my poetry. Like, so it's like that too. Sometimes some people need a lot of outside energy. Some people need to be in the quiet of their own energy.
That's interesting.
Play with it though, and just like you were saying, Melanie, like you have that beautiful sketchbook that you write in. Sometimes I write on 18 by 25. Sometimes I write with markers. Sometimes highlighters, pens, pencils. Sometimes watercolor and inks. Like play, just have fun and play with it. Try something different. Like once a week, just try something off of your normal way of doing it. And you can
I
hate it.
love it.
Throw it
And
out if
I'm
you
gonna
hate it.
try that. Yeah, I love that.
also, I'm going to say this. I think this is a really interesting thing to do, especially if you're drawing, draw with your non-dominant hand. And I like to set a timer for that because I feel that instinctively a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah, that
But,
would be
and
me.
yeah, and it's good. I mean, it's so fun with watercolors because they're so fluid.
I've never tried any of that, and I have to because I'm not an artistic person in that sense. Like I don't
Violet.
not good with drawing and painting. I
Yeah.
know and it's because I haven't tried it. Probably somewhere in my childhood, right? I just tried it and didn't think I was good and never did it again. So I have to try that.
That's the
Okay,
that's
look,
the that's the public school, I think a lot of times does that to people in the arts.
exactly. It's all relative. Like, this is good for me, right?
It's good for me. I like it.
Sister is was an art teacher and she sent me this piece that she did. And I was like, oh, damn. What I did doesn't look so amazing after all, but it's all relative. And you guys hear me this in the cooking lives. It doesn't matter. Don't compare yourself to other people. You're doing the best that you're doing for you. And that's all that really matters. And I think it's hard to share art and sometimes words because I go into corporations and speak about creativity, and a lot of people always say I'm not creative. And one of the things that I talk about is I think a lot of people come from that space because they're worried about being judged, and a little bit of that comes from because they're judging. And we have to own and accept that we do judge people, and so it can be a fearful way to step into the limelight, worrying about being judged. But if you weren't worried about what other people thought, you wouldn't care about what your shit looked like or sounded like. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean because that's how you got me to love being in the kitchen. Because I was so hard, like my ex-husband used to criticize everything I did. The man was a perfectionist and he was a good cook, really good cook. But it was annoying to like try and make something and have him be like, "Oh, you did this wrong. That doesn't taste right. You didn't boil this long." So I gave up, and my mom didn't let us in the kitchen because she thought we would like get hurt or set the house on fire. So those were not things that I loved. And from watching you and hearing that, I was like, you know what? I know I can do this. Why am I stopping myself? And I've been enjoying it. So I agree 100%.
Can you see that or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what my sister did, which is like 1 million times better than anything that I could do.
And
But
see, I don't think so. I liked what you had. Like, I don't
that's
think that's
because
a
you're
million
my
times better.
friend, Violet.
No, I really, because I love the colors that you use. You know me. I've told Melanie a million times I don't understand abstract art at all. And I liked what you had shown me.
I
So
think I
something about what you did spoke to me.
and I think
Wow.
I think everyone needs to take into account, like when I say public school system, it's definitely like because I used to work with kids in different ways. And I always go back to, does everyone remember the handprint turkey? Do you remember the snowman with the three cotton balls? I used to work with Down syndrome children, and we used to every Christmas, Christmas season, I was their therapist. They would have in the classroom doing snowmen, and they would give them the three cotton balls. And these are kids who have Down syndrome. They're so amazing kids. And the one I was working with, who was kind of freeing her from stuff, decided to put one cotton ball at the doorway, one cotton ball on the window, and another cotton ball on the clock. And she had a whole idea about it. She had a whole story about it. She like was going like opening her mind. And the teacher went and took every one of those cotton balls and put them on and glued them on her page for her. And she told her, that's not right. You can't do that. You got to do it this way. She was in kindergarten. So it starts before we even have a concept of judgment, I think. I think it starts really young, and with words as well. We are told that certain words have certain properties, that we're supposed to use them this way and that way. And we are judged, and we are, judged by our schools or our teachers or whoever is around us, to learn that, like, oh, that we give up easy. We give up before we even know that we're giving up. So,
Because we're
yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're
mommy.
because we're taught
Yeah,
to
and it's
conform, just to
amazing
what
that
you're
like
saying.
yeah, and just like you're saying, like I hadn't even realized how many things I had given up on. And now that I'm making myself more aware of it, I'm trying things that I hadn't done in years. And I'm like, wow, I really do enjoy this. Like, why wasn't I doing this before? So I love that.
yeah. And be kind to yourself, because it wasn't you who did it. Like, it wasn't you. Like, you can still get it back. We are 100% creative. We are born creative souls. It is our birthright as human beings. We are creative, every one of you. And it's just a matter of like just getting it back, letting go of the conditioning that's been given to us, and just releasing it. And in releasing it, we find freedom. And in that freedom, we find our expression. And that's where, you're back to that creative part of yourself. But no, it's not. You didn't do anything. Yeah.
Hey, we have another musician here in the chat. I want to point out there's a couple of teachers in the chat. I forgot to say that. Caitlin, Blossom Violet, Christoph, another wonderful musician. Is anybody else here? Did I miss anybody? I think that was it. Caitlin. I think that was the three of you, right?
Misty.
Definitely. Oh, Misty, yes. Yes, please. If you're a teacher and you're here, please say something because I don't always I'm thinking these things, I don't always say them. And I know we've got a few minutes to 4 and Fatima has a live at 4:30
Mhm.
Eastern time for me. So that's like almost a half hour. So I'm going to wrap it up, but before we wrap it up, I definitely want Jocelyn and Fatima and Melanie to mention anything that they've got coming up or anything that they want to share with us before we go. Misty's first track is in and waiting for approval. Awesome, Misty. That's wonderful. So, Jocelyn, I'll start with you if you want to share anything you've got coming up.
Oh, yeah. I have a mini soul art journey that I'm doing on the new moon for January 29th. I'm super excited. I do a mini soul art journey every month, and I just love it for those of you who want to get a little more creative, work with your soul and your inner wisdom. And I have an EFT course coming out very soon. And I have I have an automatic writing course and a creative writing course. And in my creative writing course, I teach you how to unfold a prompt. And all of my courses have frequency music with time to write and a ton of prompts. So I love, I love listening to people and what they're writing.
I
I
just
also,
started your automatic writing course too.
oh,
I love that. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I am. And I haven't done it yet, but tomorrow's my scheduling day. I'm going to start scheduling advanced automatic writing at least once a month, if not twice. So I think I'm doing it twice a month, but 2 different time zones. So that'll be fun to automatically write with others. And yeah, no, I love writing. It's my gig. I think it's a gateway and a creativity door for so many things. So yeah, follow me if you're not following. Come to the lives, have fun, bring your writing. I love hearing other people's writing.
And Fatima, please share with us.
I
Well,
have,
obviously, we're going to start with she's on live in 30 minutes.
yes. Thank you, Violet. Yes, the last time I was here in this live, I was playing the song Candle Glare from my album, and I mentioned that it was my favorite. It was the only one that was not an Inside Timer. So the song was approved this week, so it's already published. It's already on my profile. You can check Candle Glare.
And you
It's
created a
already also,
playlist. Is your I
yeah.
didn't know if I saw your playlist under your profile. Is it under your profile now, your playlist? Because I know sometimes they take a little while to sync.
I just followed the instructions you gave
Okay.
me how to
And it
create a
worked.
playlist.
I did see it. Yes, I did see it when you sent me the link. So I'm gonna make sure that I look again and make sure that it's there. Yes.
Yes, so Candle Glare, I created a playlist for my album Relaxing Piano Meditation. So it's a travel of the piano as a main character. So if you do any journaling with that album, the piano is yourself, you are the main character. And then each song has different characters appearing, different environments, different things until it gets to the evening. The last song is a bonus track in which the piano is not a sound of acoustic piano, but an electric one. And it's because it's evening and it's a transformation there. So it's a beautiful story if you check the album. And then I have my retreat, also a sound healing retreat coming up in May 2025 in Portugal. 4 days, and we have sound bites every Sunday. The next Sunday will not be a Sunday, it will be on the Saturday because it's the planet alignment on the 25th. So I was thinking on getting that energy for the sound bath so that the next week will be on Saturday. And the tuning fork sessions, each 2 Mondays. So not this one, but it will be on the other one. So it's always a great moment for energetic attunement, chakra attunement. Thank you so much, Violet.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Melanie. Melanie's got a retreat too.
I do. March 28th through the 30th. It's in Virginia, and it is all about nourishing yourself with mindful food, cooking, eating, all the fun things. We're going to have some mindful movement. It's right outside of Charlottesville. And I have my lives every Sunday at 9:30 a.m. on mindful cooking. And I'm just going to show you guys this because it's brand new. I'm not going to promote it. I'm just showing it.
No, you have to share. I love this. These
This is a
napkins are amazing.
Yeah, these are napkins and they are all conversation prompts. to have at the
They
dinner
could be
table.
journaling prompts. They could be journaling
Yes.
prompts too. I love that.
Yeah,
But what a great idea to make a napkin with prompts to start conversation like that. I love it. Like, I think everybody should have them, honestly. Show
yeah,
them one more time. You showed it so quick.
sure,
I want them to see it. I love
sure.
them.
I mean, most of my work, no matter what it is about weaving conversations with people and connecting people and making people feel good about themselves. And some of them are
Pet
fun.
peeve. I was gonna say I
Yes,
like pet peeve. That's one of my
yes,
favorites.
yes.
I have many of those.
There's just some fun ones, some deep ones, some, it's meant to be just a way to have stories unfold at the dinner table because so many people now struggle with having conversations.
If I hosted dinner parties, which I don't, that would be perfect for me because I'm definitely one of those people who feels like when there's a lot of people around, I'm like, oh, what are we going to talk about? Are we going to have anything to say? So I think that's awesome. I think it's
Yeah.
ideal.
Thank you. You can take it as a hostess gift.
That's what I said I was going to do. I was going to say I was going to
Yes.
give them as host, but for myself, I'm like I could use them as journaling prompts.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I already ordered mine, so
And thank you. Thank you. I love it.
yeah,
I appreciate your support.
I was there last year. I saw the prototype. I was excited when I first saw
Yes,
your
Violet
suggestion.
came to one of my dinner parties where it was a prototype and like just getting feedback from people.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see them come to life.
Thank you.